plea to the school district and to Dr. Cerveda that these parents deserve to be, their grievances addressed. The students deserve more. My understanding is that the vice president, in trying to prevent some children from getting hurt, was herself hurt on the Key Middle School grounds because there is no safety and security officials there, as I thought, and that is when the children come back and unload off the buses, allegedly to go home, they are remaining on the grounds of the school. Where is the authority? Now let me say to the parents, when I went to Fleming, I did ask the police there to please try to be understanding of tensions that might go, so that we wouldn't have a continuous paddy wagon taking children down to juvenile, because once you get in that system, you are there for a long time. And they indicated they would work with me. That doesn't mean that I didn't want to have safety and security and officers there understanding as children are coming on to a campus after they are leaving Fleming. So I want to just, my voice is raspy, I just want to, because I think it's going to be very important for parents to be heard, and they have a lot of notes. Let me make my points very clear. One, I am very disappointed that what was represented to us as a comfortable setting for the Key Middle School children, recognize it's going to be a little inconvenient, but not to the extent of 4 or 5 teachers in a classroom and overload. None of that was said. And therefore, more study should have been gone with all these empty school buildings to have accommodated them possibly in a freestanding building. Number 2, I think it is imperative that the school district puts together a task force combined of parent leadership and administrators and logistical people to address the concerns that these parents have not or were not considered when we move forward. I believe that Key Middle School should be on the list for a new school.
That's right.
Historically preserving the history of the school, but a new school. Why they're not on the list baffles me. And with this long saga, and by the way, Key Middle School is going to be a national issue, because I am meeting, as I indicated, with mold experts from around the country, at least one that I met with, who's sending me thousands of pages on mold across America. Chairman John Conyers of the Judiciary Committee is looking to hold hearings about the conditions of America's schools as relates to mold. And so Key Middle School is going to be a laboratory of that ill. I wish it wasn't. I don't want to take Houston to Washington on something negative, but if it turns out to be good because we're helping save the lives of children, then we should do that. So I want to thank again, first Natalie J., of course, for this time, then the Vice President of the Key PTA, Nicole Saunders, Raquel Reese, a parent, Jessica Johnson, a parent, Gloria Jackson, a parent, and I know these ladies are not going to be shy, and Mayor of Sunnyside, Sandra Hines, and of course, Ann Tillis. And I do want to thank Carol Mims Galloway, I mentioned Gail Fallon, Representative Harold Dutton. I don't know how many others have come over. I wanted to thank them. Were there some others that came over? Very, very vocal, and that brings me to that attention, to that point as I leave the microphone. This bond election is now linked extensively with these failings. It just is interwoven. And for those of you who live across the city, just because Key is north, the principled stand on this bond election is we've got to go back to the drawing boards to be able to fairly assess how we can involve the community. What is the best approach? And frankly, I believe it is to completely discard the existing plan and to come back with the community's input. Representative Sylvester Turner has been key in working on this broad concept that we are not against helping our children. We're not against bond elections. We're against the fairness of it.
Right.
And might I remind those who might be listening, mi casa es su casa, for those who are in a diverse audience. My house is your house. And so this is not a black or brown issue. I'm told by these parents that they're working hand in glove with parents who happen to be Hispanic.
That's right.
Hand in glove.
Yes.
And that the school is a balance in its population. Booker T is diverse. In fact, you cannot live in Houston in a school district of any kind without, because we are really, particularly in the minority communities, sort of woven together without seeing children of different backgrounds, whether they're South Asian or whether they're Vietnamese, whether they are African American, whether they're Hispanic, whether they're Anglo, whether they speak different languages. I'm told we speak 98 languages, so clearly this is a balanced effort. And for that reason, I'm standing firm until we get a new attitude and a new proposal for this bond election. It is linked with Key, and I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with these parents. Let me leave my phone number. Tomorrow's a federal holiday, but I will be out. Obviously, it's not a holiday other than that our office will be on lower activity because it is a federal holiday and congressional offices are closed. But my office number for Tuesday is 713-655-0050. 713-655-0050. And let me remind you of a town hall meeting on Tuesday, October 9th. I'll be in Washington, D.C. Regarding the Key Middle School crisis, Canaan Baptist Church, 5117 Lockwood, and another town hall meeting on October 15th at the Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church regarding the bond election. And so if you want to know why we believe this is a crisis and why we celebrate these parents and honor them, because they really are your champions. They are the warriors that are making the PTA statement for schools around this community, something we have never done in such a broad way with such a huge civil rights question. And this is a civil rights dilemma, a discriminatory treatment of children of color, isolating them. And frankly, I would broaden it to say that any mistreatment of our children do have civil rights. And I am questioning the extent of the denial of our children's civil rights. So I am turning it over to you. I think they were showing me an orange sheet. Is that another town hall meeting of the Community of Faith? That's another meeting. All right. Bond election. Spent $49 million on a bond election, a school election, and $220,000 of that $49 million went to the black school. We have asked in that instance for an Inspector General of the Department of Justice to investigate that, and I just want you to know that this is not with any anger or angst. This is simply a new movement of people who understand that the movement of civil rights and Dr. King's call of conscience and recognizing an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere is now taken its leadership. Its leadership has taken hold of it in the 21st century. Gina 6, Key Middle School, bond elections that are not reflective of the entire community represent a new movement afoot. I'm proud to be associated with these wonderful parents. May God bless you and God bless this community as we make the right decisions for those who are themselves fighting for justice. Natalie?
It may not be until months later when they discover, what safety issues their children may be developing. We do know that some of the problems are asthma and problems breathing. However, as we toured Fleming Middle School on last week, we found that there were not enough desks for each of the kids in the classrooms, and the classrooms held some 50 to 70 students in each room, some 5 teachers instructing kids in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and all of them were teaching different subjects. An environment that certainly was not conducive to learning. The teachers could hardly hear themselves think. The kids could hardly understand what the teachers were saying. And the rooms are quite small for that many children. And I'm understanding that each room really is comparable, only holding 30 children. And as we saw, some 50 to 70 children had taken up space in these rooms. Because there were not enough desks, we saw kids sitting on the floor, some 10, 15 kids sitting on the floor, and some standing in these very same rooms, and were supposed to be listening for the instructions that were given by the teachers. And not all of the kids had books. There are some 30 books issued for each classroom, and
per grade level,
6th, 7th, and 8th grade. But again, there's 50 to 70 children on average in those classrooms. Natalie, Japan and China and Russia and other countries overseas differ from America. They put women and children first They make sure that the women have a proper place to house their children and raise their family. They make sure that the children are well educated. But in the United States, it is not so. The United States is some fifth from the bottom in taking care of women and children, and that's why our nation is not faring well. My other concern, too, is in the computer lab that we visited. There were some 15, 20 computers sitting on the wood shop tables, and none of the computers were plugged up. And we know that the teacher could not teach and the children could not learn because there was no use of the computers because there were no electrical outlets in the room. So how is HISD teaching kids in these classrooms? My other concern is the filthy and nasty condition that the boys' bathroom, the shape it was in on the second floor. How do you get some 200 or more boys into that one bathroom with 3 stalls, with no doors, with water and whatever else was on the floor, no toilet paper, no soap, no hand tissue, and a teacher out of her kindness goes and buys toiletries and soap and to hand out to the kids in the hallway. You know, I just have a problem with this. This is inhumane. Number one, for the children to be cluttered up in a room, standing up against the wall, seated on the floor, a few desks in the room. How does Abe Saavedra do it? How does he get away with this? This is inhumane. And as the Congresswoman stated, it's discriminatory. And this is not a way to treat anybody's children.
One of the things I would like to add to that, to the comments to the mayor of Sunnyside, and first and foremost, let me say this is Ann Tillis here, thanking also our beloved Congresswoman for taking time at her very last minute to stop by and be with us this evening. When we also toured the campus, as you know, on, I believe that was what, Thursday, Brother Cornell X, we had to call him in to take a tour because he called and said, and I just don't believe that. A lot of people are calling us saying, we don't believe that. Well, believe it. It is very, very true. We are upset at the process and the transitional process that took place because we were promised certain things and we just didn't get that. That didn't happen. We were promised extra police security. And I'm pretty sure our Vice President now is going to tell her story about just what happened on Friday. So everybody's calling saying, we don't believe that. That's not you. I just can't see that happening. Well, what makes me a little aggravated is the fact that we have educators sitting as executive principals, sitting and wearing the title as administrators that used to be principals, making these decisions. As parents, we were not informed. We were told Friday that 4 extra buildings are going to go up on the outside, on the Fleming side, for our students on the Key side. Now, when we asked for these buildings, we were told it would take us 2 months to get them. But as soon as Cornell X come through the door, they went up overnight. Same thing with Congresswoman. It took an act of Congress to get out of the building, but as soon as Congresswoman came, they knew how to move very quickly. So we really don't have to, we don't really like calling on our outside elected officials. And I want to say Congresswoman is very inside, but she's at the very top of our elected officials. We have to call on our federal officials to fight a local battle. Surely we want to handle this way in a local way, because now we have to call somebody out of Washington to stop what they're doing to come over here to see about us. And surely we want to thank those that have responded to the call, but it shouldn't have to be. Because if we're putting children first and safety first, surely that should be the thing that's the right thing to do. So I'm going to let Nicole talk about her incident on Friday, Natalie. That was a horrific fight that she broke up. So, Nicole.
Thank you, Ann. Basically, we have concerns about the attitude of the officers. From the inception, there has been harassment of parents, harassment even of the students. I know it's hard to believe, but it's the truth, and it's unfortunate. And when I went to Key, the actual campus where the children are transported from Fleming over back to Key to be released to go home, I went there to pass out flyers, and there were students in the streets, students on the fence. And that happened because, according to the information we received, HISD was supposed to provide the police authorities to be there to ensure the safety of our children and to make sure that their exit from their buses would actually corral them at least on the way home in a civilized manner. However, there were no officers present. When I completed passing out flyers to the students, the children gathered in a huddle, and there was a fight. Of course, being a parent and being a person that loved children, I could not stand by and just see children fight. So I did proceed to try and, I didn't get in the middle of the fight, but I did pull a t-shirt back to try and break up the fight. However, in the midst of that, I got hurt. I ended up on the ground and having to go to the hospital. But I do believe with all of my heart, had the officers been in place like it was promised that they would be in place, this could have been prevented. There may not have been a fight. I would not have gotten hurt, and we would not be having this discussion as we speak. So my concern is the attitude of the officers and the attitude of the district concerning our children. I look on the police car and it says HISD Police, Safety for the Future. Well, if our children are the future, then we owe them the responsibility of making sure that they are safe. And I'm going to ask this question, and I hope the officers are listening. Would you want something like this to happen to your child? I don't believe you would. I do believe that you would want someone held accountable if this incident was to occur with your children. Guess what? We look at your children as our children. And we pray that you have a change of heart and change of attitude from this day forward concerning the Key Middle School children as well. Thank you.
We have a call of action that's going out, and we're making a statement, equality and education. First town hall meeting regarding some upcoming events going on this very week is going to be Tuesday, October the 9th at 6:30 p.m. at Canaan Baptist Church, 5117 Lockwood. Also, a citywide town hall meeting will be held at Willa Avenue Baptist Church, October the 15th. Need your help, and we need it now. It is not where you stand in times of convenience. It's where you stand in times of inconvenience. It is inconvenient for our kids to be housed in that school that is supposed to house 400 children and now has at least 1,000 or more kids. Please help us get humane space for our children.
In addition to that, if you would like to contact us for further support, you can contact us at 713-738-0238. Thank the radio station KCOH and Miss Natalie J. for allowing us to come her way, and also the most beloved Honorable Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, who I believe on tomorrow will try her best to get into the doors of Fleming Middle School and see about the injustices. and as well as the rest of our support parents, Miss Gloria Jackson, Miss Raquel Reese, and Miss Jessica Johnson. And on behalf of all of the rest of the Key family, staff, custodial staff, teachers, principals, counselors, whomever you are, hang in there, and hopefully we can help get ourselves out of this mess. That's what it is, isn't it?